Tax revolt in the U.S. over all the waste, fraud, and abuse. You have been following right recently. MTG, she's leaving Congress here soon. She's really kind of started a little bit of a movement here on this tax revolt, where she's pushing the people, like in the MAGA, make America great again, to say to not pay their taxes anymore. She's in Congress, congressperson saying that, and if you didn't already know, I mean, sure, everybody watching this video has probably already seen the freaking 100 plus million view video by Nick Shirley out there in Minnesota, where he's exposing the waste and fraud and abuse by the Somali pirates there with the daycare centers. And they're taking out just taking millions and millions, maybe even billions of dollars, and then they're just funneling it in there. Anyways, it's an absolute scam. It's a fraud, massive fraud scam. Guess where that money comes from? Well, probably not actually, but let's pretend that it comes from your tax dollars. Let's just pretend that it does, okay? Because that's kind of assumed that it does, so it's not really how it works. I mean, if you read the actual church findings and reports back in the day, I think in the 80s, that's not really how it works. But let's assume that your tax dollars actually go to the waste, fraud, and abuse. Dude, Americans have every right to be absolutely insanely furious, dude. Think about it. I mean, presuming that the tax dollars went to that fraud and you're paying 20%, 30%, or 40% in taxes, and that money is going off to the Somali pirates, and they're just taking the money, burning it on, same-sex marriages and, whatever other corruption they can do, and interbreeding crap, whatever those insane people are doing over there. I mean, they're just nuts. And so these are foreigners; these are not Americans, and they're getting all this money through fraud, right from your tax dollars. So enjoy that. And I think some of the videos I've been watching online, just like posts I've been seeing, is that Americans are starting to wake up a little bit and realizing that, look, this money should not only be coming, forgetting about going to the foreigners, it should be going back to the people. And I'm not talking $1,000. Oh, 1,000. If $1,000 is going to come back to the people, dude, we need to freaking rage in the streets, dude, and freaking literally start arresting politicians right now. Citizens arrest, take them all in. If they have the audacity to send us $1,000. Yeah, I will freaking lose it, dude. I mean, I imagine a lot of other people will too. Don't send $1,000. Okay, that would be like, here you flee, you peon, you absolute nobody. You're a freaking scum on the bottom of my shoe. Here's $1,000. While they're getting millions and trillions, even up to trillions. Dude, insane, right? So let me just show you a couple of screenshots here on what's going on with the MTG. So she posted this today. It says, an Israel Trump voters spent the week threatening a tax revolt because they're so furious about the never-ending waste, fraud, and abuse, about their hard-earned money going to foreigners in foreign wars. The focus should be on tax dollars here at home, defending our God-given freedom and rights. She's upset about what Trump's saying here. And Massey's also standing up. He's been behind this the whole time. Massey's been pretty straight up. We started at American flag. We're ending this year with an absolute rage, and Trump voters planning a 2026 tax revolt. What's crazy is that, legally, like in a by the book legal sense, what she's doing is totally illegal here. I mean, now I'm gonna give my thoughts as to why I think it's happening and how it's part of an operation. Because if it's not part of an operation, then it's completely illegal what she's doing. She's an active member of Congress still, and she's telling Americans not to pay their taxes. That's a That's a Hatch Act violation. That's like, it's just a lot of violations. Okay, but if it's part of an operation, then it's okay. So we got tax revolt 2026 tax revolt, and it's been going on for a while, where it's been talked about. I even interviewed a guy. Oh, Gary, this other guy, Gary Cardone, he's Grant Cardone's brother. He really went off, dude. He went off on this. I mean, he's talking about, he's got a pretty good amount of influence. I guess there's too many posts here, but, he said something here. Hold on. He says, I'm intolerant, non compliant, and ready and able to organize. Attention, call to duty, emergency battle orders, recall of all misfits, non compliant, non conforming freaks. It's time for your day in the sun. Let's go. And he's reposting Elon Musk. 78,000 views. Now, he's the brother of Grant Cardone. That's not really that big of a reach. I thought it was bigger than that. But it's still good. People are like starting to realize what's going on, and we're sick of it. Now, I do think this is part of the operation. So it's not time to go out and pitchfork and everything in the street yet. But we do have only until July 4th, 2026. After July 4th, 2026, if it's the same song and dance as it's always been every single time, it's over. I'm done. We're done. And hell's going to freaking scorch this earth, dude. And I'm talking about it's on, dude. Dude, it's over. I mean, we're literally going to, I will be leading of a freaking movement, dude, at that point. I guarantee it. Now, I'm not going to go there because I know it's not going to happen. I have absolute faith and confidence that things are going to get, we're going to get the elections corrected, meaning that we're going to have honest elections, transparent elections. We're not going to have the fraudulent voting machines. Smartmatic's going to be gotten rid of. No more Dominion by July 4th. That's going to happen. All right. That's part of the operation. 2, we're going to have mass arrests. Jake Sullivan and the deep state crew. I mean, by the hundreds. It's going to have to be by the thousands. Mass arrests. Thousands of deep state actors will be arrested by then. Mass indictments, mass RICO cases, and arrests, and no bail. People are going to have to be held. These are congressmen and politicians, all state actors, governors, local city municipalities, little people in California that have been doing all this corruption with the elections. If they had knowledge of the election crime, they're going in. They need to go to the gas chambers. Anybody who has knowledge of election fraud and they were involved in it, Gitmo, gas chambers, dude, they're done. I'm sorry. You're a little person at the clerk's office. You had knowledge of that. I have no mercy. You're going against American and constitutional rights. You're going in for treason. That's it. Sorry. That's how it's going to go down. Now, if it does, I don't want to say that if it doesn't go down. All right. I'm not going to say it. It's going to go down. All right. July 4th, it's happening. And the reason why it will happen is because the midterms, that's like 6 months before the midterm, five and a half months before the midterms. So that only leaves another 5 months or so, August, September, October, 4 months to get new candidates in there because the candidates running for Congress will be arrested, being charged for treason. I mean, it has to happen by July 4th. And it only makes sense to go in a massive, aggressive mode by then, because that gives 4 months for the people who are the congressional candidates who are now in jail being prosecuted to find new candidates. They'll have to have backup candidates come in for the election at that point. They'll be like added to the ballot as a substitute candidate. That gives them 4 months to add. So it only makes sense because most of the people running right now will be arrested. They'll all be in jail. I figure I would say, I don't know, most of Congress probably is going to be removed. I would imagine. I would hope almost most of all Congress would be removed. If you had knowledge of, if you participated in January 6th, if you in any sort of insurrection, like where you're putting people in, holding those people in custody in January 6th, they were detained. All those people who were illegally detained, you were held without their will, without any right. If you supported that, you need to be prosecuted. I mean, all this stuff, anything about taking foreign money, emoluments clauses, I would say most Congress is probably going to be gone. They have to be. We got to get all new people in there. The republic's got to come back, and we got to go back to that constitutional way of life, which is going to be a by the book, republic. No more emoluments, no more taking bribes from foreign countries, going over to Israel, taking all this money. Those people got to go. Sorry, you're going to be charged. You're out. Sorry. No. We've been way too nice with the politicians over the years, and we've got to throw the hammer down, and people need to be tarred and feathered. And that's just the way it's got to go down. Put out in the middle of the street. All the people see them. We used to have parades when I would grow up for 4th of July. When I was a kid, here in California, we'd have parades. And they would be like really cool, amazing parades. And everybody go down the street on the 4th of July. And all the neighbors were there. And they'd cheer and the marching band and all that. We need to have that for this year. Yeah, celebration. But the celebration is you got all the politicians walking by, they're like this, and they got they're gagged and we're throwing rotten eggs at them and tarring and feathering them. Anyone who did treason, that's celebration right there, because we need vindication. It has to be actual vindication. Any of the people who cheated on elections, that's treason. That's not, oops, I'm sorry. No, that's treason, dude. There's so much treason, dude. It's on a mass scale, mass treason. And treason is the highest crime. So all these people have to be out in the middle of the street. Judges, politicians, city officials, all of them, dude. So that's what we can look forward to. That's what the rejoicing is going to be. It's going to be about vindication. The people are actually got to see this justice happen. The election was completely stolen. It was no doubt. It's proven in court. It's come out. They got Tina Peters. Finally, she's going to be freed. Those people are holding Tina Peters back in Colorado right now. Boy, can only pray for that. Pray for those people and hope they don't know what they're doing, I guess, because there's going to be some serious consequences for that. Back in the 1960s, it was 68 or so. Maybe even 63 was the last time that we've ever had something like this, where the states refused to follow federal orders. And first of all, that election is a federal election. That was a presidential election. Second of all, for a state to claim some sort of sovereign immunity right now, when they've completely waived all those sovereign immunity rights by taking federal funds and being involved in a federal election with U.S. citizens, is absurd. It's absolutely absurd to even begin to comprehend that. That's absurd. Those state actors, the governor, all them, that president has jurisdiction over them. Those are federal enclaves under the 14th Amendment. They've all waived their sovereign immunity claims a long time ago. They cannot claim a 10th Amendment sovereign immunity stuff. It ain't going to happen. Sorry. Yeah, that's the law, 10th Amendment. I get it. But they waived that long time ago. All right, so we're not there right now. So what's going to have to happen is either one, there's going to have to be an insurrection act, or two, we have a quasi-insurrection act already happening with the operation, and they just go in there with the military and they say, listen, you either bring Tina out right now or we take you out. That's it. It's no more playing nice. Sorry. Nice guy is over with, dude. We're at war right now. This is a psychological military operation against an actual cancer over the world right now. This guy that's being surgically removed. But the problem is, it's a problem, is that we don't have a lot of time left. I mean, we can all cheer on the sidelines for a little bit longer and say, yay, it's going to happen, and have faith. That it's going to work out. Trust the plan, right? They say, trust this plan. Okay. But the trust the plan ends on July 4th. All right. I'm not saying trust the plan, but I'm saying that's what they say. Trust the plan. Trust this plan. Don't do anything. Okay. Chill. All right. It ends on July 4th. And that plan is you have all these politicians in the streets, and we all get vindication, and we have fair elections again. General Flynn is even calling for it himself. That being said, back to the tax stuff. So I'm on this freaking kind of a rant here, but the tax stuff, dude. There's something called revocation of election. That was once DOGE came out As soon as DOGE came out and they said, you know what, I'm done. I decided that I was done at that point with this scam. Once DOGE revealed what I already kind of believed was there about the waste, fraud, and abuse, about the tax dollars, I did a legal process called revocation of election. And I forget, dude, I legally, as I'm authorized to do under the law, gave them notice of my stopping to pay and file taxes anymore. All my taxes had been filed. So I mean, I'm a good little taxpayer participating in the thing. But after I, discovered that, became a national, and I just said, I'm done with this. I'm going to go ahead and give them the revocation of election. They accepted that. It went in perfectly fine, and there was no objections at all. I got all proof of that. So that being said, I mean, if somebody were to do this thing with MTG and follow the MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene with the tax revolt, that's the proper procedure. I mean, I don't think it's not proper just to do nothing and say, I'm not doing my taxes anymore. That's not giving them due process. I know that we want due process. We have to give them due process as well. And that's what the procedure is, so that's what revocation of election is. It's all about. That way they can't object, say, well, you didn't tell us, about that you weren't going to do your taxes anymore. No, dude, you got to give them notice so they can update their records and say, this guy is no longer consenting to taxes, because taxes are voluntary, and I've known that it's voluntary. Yeah, I've been still doing my, I get it, dude. It's okay to volunteer and participate. There are benefits to doing it. There are also things that are not benefits. So, and risks. So that point is that I personally made the decision to no longer volunteer in. I'm volunteered out, just like I volunteered out of giving my allegiance to the federal enclave under the 14th Amendment. Allegiance for protection, protection for allegiance. Also volunteered out of that at the same time, and pledged my allegiance to the independent sovereign nation under the 10th Amendment called the California Republic. As there's two forms of citizenships. There's state and federal citizen under the Constitution. I've got a lot of videos about this, really going deep on this full analysis where I break it down, the entire sovereign immunity claim with Lincoln, the 10th Amendment, the court cases, the main ones. I've really gone deep on that. I will, I'll put a playlist for you guys who want to watch and learn about that. I'll put it in here. I'm a little bit, I freaking had it up to here with this corruption, dude, and the scam. It's time to freaking have some vindication. We need vindication. It's going to happen. All right. It's going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. Or it's going to happen July 4th. I have faith. I will trust that it will happen. And I'm going to just keep taking massive action and preparing to where if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to be leading a freaking movement. All right. That's all. It's going to happen. It's happening, dude. All right. I do 1,000,000% believe it's happening. I know it is. And the operation is real. And we will have vindication by July 4th for these midterms. If we go into another fake rigged election by the midterms, then you can count on all Congress being completely taken out in a blue wave. Count on it. And then the whole thing's over. Then we lose America. We lose the republic at that point. So that's why this is a really important time. And that means the whole world too. Not everybody, just in the U.S., everybody. The hope for freedom, the hope for constitutional republic to spread throughout the world. It is getting spread. I'm just saying it's time to make it happen. All right. Call to action. So and just want to get my thoughts on the tax stuff. I'll post a video in there. I will also post a follow-up video, the video that I did where I did the revocation of election. I'll post that here at the end as well. You could check it out. You could see that. And then I'm considering doing like a paid series or some sort of a link to where I could show people how to do it without legal advice and without all the public information. So I don't get sued over it. Not that I would, but I'm just saying I could probably do it so I'm considering that, showing people how I did mine exactly. I'll share the video on here and then look for more information on that. All right. I'll share the one about revocation of election and also the playlist on the series I did regarding the other 14th Amendment, claims and cases. So I'll see you at the top. Hit the ones. It helps. Happy New Year. This is Gavin Mehl.